38. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time and Jim.
On Chicago's south side, west of the Ryan Expressway, there's a heavy police presence in the 8300 block of South Kerfoot due to an active barricade situation and earlier shootings. Northbound 53 at Northwest Highway with a collision reported. Trip time on 53 northbound, 290 to Lake Cook is 11 minutes. Southbound it's 10. Inbound Kennedy for some congestion downtown. It's now 25 minutes from O'Hare to the Burns Circle. Outbound 21. Inbound Eisenhower, 28 minutes from 390 to downtown. Outbound 25. Inbound Stevenson delays start at Harlem. It's 37 minutes from the Veterans Memorial Tollway to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 18 minutes from 95th to downtown. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Jim, thank you. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast, warm and humid, clouds and sunshine. Maybe a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon, high 85. Currently 71. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560 The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I know this is Pride Month, year, decade, millennia. Literally in Canada, it's Pride Summer.
It is?
It's not. Month is not sufficient. By the way, I heard this on another Chicago radio station yesterday. This advertisement, celebrating Pride Month, and it was LGBTQ people are just more fun. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Shaming us because we're not part of that community?
Well, what does it mean that they're more fun? How? I honestly, I don't know. It's a neutral question. You said they're more fun as a group. Tell me how.
More colorful, flamboyant? I don't know. They dance better? I don't know.
Is that caricaturing them?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And then that's wrong. And it's labeling, and that's wrong, too.
I want the people who are making the statement to explain it to me.
They're more, really?
LGBTQ, this was a 1011. Flipping through a list of music.
You listen all the time.
LGBTQ people they're more fun. How? All right. Loudoun County, Virginia. One judge is not completely blinded by the enforced celebration of Pride Month. We brought this story to you the other day. Byron Tanner Cross is a PE teacher at Leesburg Elementary in Loudoun County. A lot of action in Loudoun County, Virginia.
I know. It's kind of crazy. Every day there's news coming out of there.
Here is what he said to the school board before he was suspended.
We condemn school policies like 80-40 and 80-35 because it will damage children, defile the holy image of God. I love all of my students, but I will never lie to them regardless of the consequences. I'm a teacher, but I serve God first, and I will not affirm that a biological boy can be a girl and vice versa because it's against my religion, it's lying to a child, it's abuse to a child, and it's sinning against our God.
Well, a judge in the case, he filed a suit seeking an injunction to the suspension. The suit will continue, but the judge granted an injunction holding that Mr. Cross's religious liberty and free speech rights are integral to the case, and that Cross's criticisms are protected by the First Amendment. It's very similar to the case that you had. We talked to Nicholas Merriweather, who's a professor at Shawnee State University. He's litigating this as well, refusing to call the student by their preferred pronoun and suggesting that it was a matter of conscience as well. And that's being litigated at the federal level. That's a collegiate case. These are going to be important cases in determining whether religious liberty is still a thing, still one of those pesky freedoms protected under the First Amendment. We're going to find out and we're going to keep you updated. New Trier 203 school board meeting. The meeting was dominated, the most recent one, by a discussion, pro and con, about the book Two Boys Kissing. It is required reading in sophomore English at New Trier High School. Two Boys Kissing. And if you want to strip the excitement out of soft porn literature, in quotation marks, there's no better way to do it than have middle-aged men and women read from it. Take a listen. Here's parent number one, Tracy Kearney.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Tracy Kearney, and I live in Glenview. I'm a community member, a New Trier Township resident, proud parent of two 2021 New Trier grads, and parent of one rising senior at Loyola, and in all circumstances, a taxpayer. I am here to talk about the book, Two Boys Kissing, a book that I recently learned that, is required reading for our sophomore English, and the appropriateness of this book. To underscore my concern, let me read a passage from the text. Early in the book, there is a scene where a father finds out his 17-year-old son is soliciting men online, and he confronts his son. Do you just go off and f*** men? Is that it? While we're asleep, you go out and f*** them? No, Cooper finally says. What is this then? What kind of whore are you? Whore? These are not words any son should hear from his father. But a father's rage has its own language. It doesn't have to talk like a father. I agree that a son should never hear these words from a father, but they should also not hear them in a New Trier classroom. The assignment for this passage asks students to write about the value of using occasional swear words and whether they enhance the scene or seem gratuitous. Is it appropriate to ask students to comment on what effect profanity has on the scene when your own board policy, 6:80, about controversial topics, adopted just last month, prohibits profanity and slander? What curriculum standard is this book meeting? What was the universe of choice when you were choosing this book? Why this book? Thank you, and I look forward to your answers.
Mm-hmm. Retired AP teacher. Next up.
Good evening. My name is Della Deem from Glenview. I'm the parent of a New Trier grad. I am a retired high school teacher and AP teacher. I am also here to comment on the book, Two Boys Kissing. To restate, this book seems to be in violation of board policy 6:80, teaching about controversial issues. It contains profanity, sex scenes, and underage drinking. Here is another example. Julian, an adult, and Cooper, a 17-year-old, met using a sex app, and they are meeting in person for the first time. They're drinking Jack and Cokes. Quote, Cooper has seen so many scenes of guys doing this, gotten hard to them, doing this, jerked off to them, doing this. Now here it is. Julian's got a great body. He leans in, pressing their mouths together, pressing their bodies together. Cooper wants to pull him down to the couch, wants to get him horizontal. He asks, the bedroom? Julian takes him by the hand, and they're in the tiny bedroom, still standing up and kissing. Cooper topples them over into the bed. Their hands are exploring. Cooper, not knowing any better, goes right for the groin, and Julian pulls away. He retreats for a few minutes, kissing with him on top, then rolling them over so they're kissing with him on the bottom. Groins touching now, him feeling what's going on beneath Julian's jeans, then rolling over again so he can take off his shirt and then take off Julian's shirt. This is going too slow. Cooper wants to tell him they're going to have a first date, so they might as well go all the way. Might as well see what's going on under those jeans. If this were porn, they'd be naked by now. They'd be blowing each other. To summarize, this exposes our kids to underage drinking, online sex apps, erections, blowjobs, and one-night stands.
You going to wait for the movie or are you going to read the book?
That's sophomore English at New Trier. Two Boys Kissing.
Required reading. The two women you heard from, including a retired teacher, they're modern-day book burners. Are they the old fuddy-duddies? They're just not with the times. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. What do you think?
I think that the MILF thing in Loudoun County is nothing compared to that book, Two Boys Kissing. That's disgusting. Why have them read that? They're just promoting and pushing their agenda that everyone should be gay and please go out and try it. It's okay.
Here's a mom who has a gay daughter who spoke at the meeting against the book.
At some point, what do we say about their innocence? We've got to say something. Look at the world they're in right now. You know, and they're as if they don't know that there are people that are gay in the school or something. I have a gay daughter. I don't want her reading that book. And she's accepted by me. She is accepted by her friends. She doesn't need this porn to be accepted. All I know is I pay taxes, and I don't want to pay taxes for porn. I don't want to. And, you know, and they're talking about the teachers coming in, oh, this is a great book, we should have it because it teaches this or that. They're benefiting from those taxes. I think it should be something the parents decide. Parents should say whether they want porn or not. And I can tell you, because I do have a gay daughter, this book's not going to change anything for her. It's not. I just want to know why we're listening to kids who don't even know the direction of up or down. Think about what you thought, what you said, what you thought was going to happen in life when you were 18. How different is it now? I want tax-paying adults to make decisions on whether or not we teach porn, regardless of the gender they're doing it with, in the school.
Yeah, I went to New Trier High School, and then I went on to Northwestern to major in gender studies with a minor in porn. Or a concentration, maybe, in porn.
I mean, it promotes all the wrong things, as that woman said.
There.
Sex apps with one-night stands, drinking.
I love that it's a violation of the board policy passed a month earlier. You know what? But because the policy is just, this is what happens when you're just a sentimental barbarian. You make a policy, you think it feels good at the time. Well, then you find something else that feels good. And since there are no principles at stake, you just say, well, this feels good too. Are the two in contradiction with one another? Sure they are, but both feel good, so let's do them both.
Disgusting. Can you opt out? My God.
No, not at present. This was interesting too. A Chinese immigrant spoke to this, just a little bit of a global perspective. And, you know, with respect to somebody who knows something about education in the Far East, I'd take a listen.
You know, we really don't see many Asian faces here. You know, I grew up in China. I came all the way here to find a good life for my kids. You know, from learning what you are talking about today, just really shocking me. I don't think this is the education for. Around the world, in every country, they're teaching their kids to have a right mind and to be strong, to be intelligent. And what you guys are talking about? 3 minutes. Pervert. This is not for education. This is not for majority of the family. You can do that to a separate group, but not for everybody.
We're at our limit now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
We're at our limit.
Behave, ma'am.
She's used to being silenced by communists. She's from China, after all.
Yeah,
now she's in New Trier. She thought it was going to be different. Sorry, Miss Chinese immigrant. Sorry, we're not living up to our promise that you thought you were coming to enjoy in this country. And, of course, the supporters, some of the supporters, at least that I listened to, they think they're Holly Hunter and Field of Dreams.
Oh, yeah.
They're, Beulah, you're not going to ban this book. They're trying to ban Huck Finn and this and that. Great works of American literature. They're Two Boys Kissing is being talked about in the same vein as
it's not
as
even
Catcher in the
Rye.
Rye.
Yeah, please.
I mean, it's absurd on the merits, but that's how they posture themselves. Nobody's talking about banning anything. They're saying, and as you heard those ladies say, why this book? From all the books that we have to choose from, this is a book that's going to advance what exactly with respect to the kids' education? Because that's the point, isn't it? You have to make selections. Nobody's saying the book shouldn't be allowed to be purchased. It shouldn't be probably in the library or wherever else, obviously in the public arena. But why is it part of the curriculum? Because you have choices to make. Are you suggesting that this belongs in the University of Chicago's Great Books course? Is that what you're suggesting? One of the great modern works of Western Civ? If not, then why is it there? Why choose that book? It's a great question. Of course, you're not going to get an answer from the school board. Joe in Naperville.
I'm glad they banned the Pledge of Allegiance. But what I was going to do, if that was in my school district for my kids, I would be bringing charges against child pornography, exposing my child to pornography. Take them to the courts, make them prove that it's not pornography. Hold their feet to the fire. This is ridiculous.
Thanks, Joe.
You're a lawyer. Could they do that? It's pornographic. I mean,
yeah. Are you trafficking in child porn, like illegal? No, I wouldn't say that. Although, mandating the consumption of that to minors. We're talking about sophomores, so we're talking about 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. It's obviously, and I'm supportive of this, erring on the side of free thinking and free speaking. But so rather than making this a criminal matter, it's a cultural matter. And obviously a K through 12 educational matter. John in Lincolnwood.
Oh, hi. I had to call in because it's a sophomore class, and in my sophomore year, I had to read Shakespeare, and that actually helped me get over my dyslexia because the teacher made me read it over and over and over and over until it was fully explained, and I got over it. I'm like, now I love Shakespeare. I'd like to know, and I'd like to ask this teacher, this book, Kissing Boys or whatever, how is that going to stimulate the intellect of the sophomore to make them love reading? What? This is absolutely ludicrous. Thank you.
Shakespeare, that's passé.
Please.
You have Ivy League English departments that don't require Shakespeare to graduate
possible?
with a degree in English Lit or Western Lit. I mean, you've got the classics department at Princeton. John McWhorter recently wrote about this in The Atlantic. The classics department at Princeton decided the idea that the classics major should know Latin or Greek has been a mistake.
Hey.
So, yeah, I mean, this is all being expunged as part of the historical rewrite of Western civilization. You know why? Because Western civilization, oppression. Nothing to offer. Nothing produced that's worth saving, passing on. Day 1 in America tomorrow. Margot in Burr Ridge.
Yeah, the parents need to, you kind of need to put blame on somebody, and the person that they should be looking at is the director of curricula. That's who you go, that's who I ended up fighting with in District 181, elementary school, because that person is picking these books, and that person supposedly, is reading the books and okaying them for the children and all of that. And, they need to be focusing on something other than their libido. The kids are going to figure out their libido without any help whatsoever from the schools. And parents, the other thing parents should do is they should have their own reading list for their kids. Things like The Great Earth, Man Called Intrepid, 5 Years of Freedom, books that they've read that inspired them, because they're not going to get those kind of books at this juncture in school. And, for summer reading, you got to assign your own summer reading for your kids. Anyway, I've gone toe-to-toe with the direct curricula, but now that these parents are banding together, they can really make a difference, not just get the, individual books taken out, but try to make a difference with the curricula.
Thanks for the call.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Thanks for the call,
Good for
Margo.
you.
Appreciate it. Well, Peter Tragos, who's the assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction, he was there at that meeting, and he defended it. And he misrepresented the positions of those women and others who opposed the book as part of the curriculum. He misrepresented their positions. Of course he did. He has to caricature their positions in order to dismiss them rather than address sort of the conversation we're having. He's the assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction, where you've got Shamil Tillery's the director of curriculum and instruction, because there's layers to New Trier because it's such a wonderful school and school district. Paul Sally's the superintendent. He's a big supporter of I Hate White People Day. Remember the I Hate White People seminar day that got nixed because parents rose up, like these parents that were rising up at that board meeting yesterday. What's interesting about New Trier, too? You know who their director of communications is? You'll probably remember her.
Who?
Nikki Dizon. She was an AP reporter. She was a political reporter for AP at the state level here. Actually, I like her, and I think she's a good reporter. She was a good reporter. She's got a tough job as director of communications. It'd be nice if all of these deep thinkers at New Trier would be willing to go toe-to-toe with, frankly, the likes of me, or answer the questions that are posed by the likes of some of those people you heard from, who are also intelligent people. A lot of intelligent people who live up on the North Shore, and a lot of unintelligent people pretending to be intelligent. And unfortunately, the latter is who's in charge of that school.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
All right, we turn to federal politics and get a sense of what is happening out in the hustings in advance of 2022 from our friend Selena Zita from the Washington Examiner at 7:07.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
A man seen shooting two men barricaded now inside a Southside home. A late CPD officer is honored for his heroic efforts. A body found several miles from shore in Lake Michigan. White Sox top the Blue Jays, Cubs over the Padres, and WIND Chicago News Time 7.
President Biden is about to leave the country. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, taking his first overseas trip since taking office. Later this hour, Fox's Rachel Sutherland is at the White House.
The president is heading to Europe. First stop, the UK, where he'll participate in the G7 summit of world leaders. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki.
This is an important opportunity for him to see them in person, and there's nothing like face-to-face engagement in diplomacy.
After the